All right, welcome back to The Horror with Mike.
And Nate.
On this episode, we're going to be going in depth on our spoiler-filled recap, review, analysis episode of True Detective Season 2, Episode 3.
Coming off last week's red-hot episode, I thought, with a great cliffhanger ending.
Sure.
Which you and I differed on wildly, and you ended up being right. So,
oh, yeah, well,
there you go. Although, I had said at the time that were Colin Farrell not dead, that would be a cheat.
Right.
And it isn't. I don't feel it was a cheat. Well, I don't feel that it necessarily was a cheat.
Okay.
Gives me a little bit of a thought process on where it might be going,
right,
and who the bad guy is.
All right, cool.
So depending on how it plays out, it could have like, oh, that makes sense, I get it, or oh, all right, that was just a ratings grab.
Yeah, okay, cool, because I was like preparing the last few days being like, if Nate's going to start talking shit, and I'm glad you didn't, because like I was coming up with all these ways that I was going to and could defend it and everything, that it was like, okay, yeah, that pissed me off. We'll see if it eventually continues or even really does piss me off, because it didn't piss me off, one, because I saw it coming. Two, specifics of it, which we'll go into in a bit. As long as the show doesn't like drop that this ever happened or that it doesn't leave repercussions, then it's lame, then it's a cheat. But if it continues like this episode where it's starting to shape a bigger story and it's actually affecting Colin Farrell intensely, then good. It's not just some bullshit little ploy. Even if it is, if the ends justify the means, I'm willing to take it. That's fine with me. So what were your general thoughts on the episode then?
It was, I personally thought it wasn't quite as good as episode 2, but it was a big step up from episode 1.
Yeah, no, this one, for me, this is the episode that really fucking grabbed me. And I've like watched it twice already and wanted to go back, and I just didn't really have time, but I really want to watch I'm fully into this now. Like,
see, I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
This episode had some great character work. Taylor Kitsch finally starting to develop, I guess. I still don't know how he connects to everything. And
well, I have a theory on that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Basically, what I think what he's going for in this particular season, the bigger overall story, is that it's about fathers, and maybe he became a father or something, because we have a pretty big actor, David Morse, playing Rachel McAdams' father, so I'm pretty sure he's coming back.
Yeah.
Taylor Kitsch doesn't have a dad. Colin Farrell obviously has dad issues both directions. Vince Vaughn can't have kids, so he can't become a dad, and his dad was mean to him. Like, it's a very...
Oh, yeah. It's wearing the daddy issues on its sleeve.
Yeah. And so, what I'm thinking, I kind of hope this isn't what it is. We'll see. Is that Taylor Kitsch's dad was killed by Colin Farrell for raping his wife.
Oh.
And it's like, oh God, here we go.
Right.
But as long, again, as ends justify the means, I'll take that lame plot development.
Well, presentation matters a lot. It depends on how they get there.
Kind of rocks at its presentation. The thing that kind of sucks about this episode is, as good as the parts were, it made me see, and just, I'm hoping everybody will have their moment to shine, but how little I care about like Rachel McAdams, even Vince Vaughn, Taylor Kitsch, like Colin Farrell's stuff in this episode, and then looking back the season so far. I said in the Fright Night episode, and I'll take that back right now officially, that I said that was his my favorite Colin Farrell performance. Come on. When we think of Colin Farrell, slipped my mind in Bruges. Like, that doesn't even feel like Colin Farrell. So that's good. In Bruges,
it's very good.
Is his best performance. This, I think, with the last episode, rivaled, if not, took his best performance. Like, he is fucking amazing.
I like when Farrell goes quiet and does character work, which a few years ago, I saw this movie that wasn't very good. It was Crazy Heart, in which Jeff Lebowski is like a retired country singer, right, and he's trying to connect with his kid. It's The Wrestler, only with country music.
Okay.
Well, the young protege that made it as a big star is played by Colin Farrell, and it's a small role, it's a quiet role, he's totally humbled in the presence of his mentor, and it just didn't feel like him whatsoever. I was like, when he goes small and he tries to be real, he's really good, and that's what he's able to do in a starring role on True Detective.
Yeah, and that's what I feel nobody else is really doing yet. And I'm hoping that everyone gets their moment, but, you know, everyone's too tough is basically what the problem is. And that's 90% of the time Colin Farrell's problem, is like his public persona and everything is like of a tough, drinking, womanizing, you know, devil may care. And that's what all of his characters are, so it's boring. Why he's so good in this series so far is he shows a lot of, like, he's not a badass, like, at all.
I would describe him as a sad sack.
Yeah.
You know, he's the corrupt cop who's pathetic. You feel bad for. You don't be like, oh, he's a bad guy. No, he isn't. He's just like a broken and almost worthless human being. But he's not evil.
No. And he plays all that, like I said, really well, going more for that there's like a sadness driving all of it versus like hard drinking or, you know, whatever. I haven't had this feeling. I may have had this feeling in True Detective 1, possibly. But when episode 2 started with that whole Conway Twitty, Fred Ward thing.
Very David
I was
Lynchy.
like, oh shit. Like, we're watching something fucking amazing. Like, here it is. The show finally took its turn. And now we're going to get something, like, epic. It kind of slowed back down into regular crime stuff. Other than Colin Farrell, I think they held his stuff over better, where it's like, why aren't you drinking? He's like, because it calms me down. I want to stay angry.
Yeah,
like, that was so badass. And then even, it's a noir, so it gets away with this kind of stuff, where someone asks Vince Vaughn, like, what happened to him? He's like, someone murdered him. It's a noir, so that kind of line is actually cool, as opposed to wah wah. So if they're going in that kind of thing, and just, I mean, there's so much now that's being said with, like, how his dad treats him and how he is refusing to not love his son, even though it might not even be his son. And, like, just the weirdness and the layers of having that be your backstory is really cool. And that progressed a little bit in this episode, but not too much to speak of, other than the fact that it showed that his wife does still, like, care for him enough to, like, save your own life, get out of town type thing. So yeah, pretty much all the good stuff comes from Colin Farrell, which has been the whole thing of the show thus far. Was it Vince Vaughn has that badass scene though where he fights the guy?
Yeah, again, should I take off my rings? I don't care. Keep them on.
Yeah, but again, that was just kind of like typically badass so far, and that's good. But in context to Colin Farrell's amazing stuff going on. So at least there was that. And Taylor Kitsch started getting his whole gay thing comes out more. I mean, it was pretty much confirmed.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
That he was in Afghanistan and hooked up with a dude when he was there. So he's not maybe gay, but he definitely is hooked up with a dude.
Yeah, he obviously doesn't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, and there's all these weird gay undertones starting to come in, where then he goes and meets up with like a gay prostitute, and I think they go to a gay, and maybe it wasn't a gay bar.
No, but in that bar he was hanging out with several other gay prostitutes.
Right. And he bumps into Vince Vaughn, which at least now they've met, maybe that connects, whatever. But anyway, overall I'd say I am hooked now, and if we were just reviewing the first 10 minutes, it was fucking like masterful. Those opening 10 minutes, like, I've watched those over and over, and like, the only thing that sucks is they use the song that I associate with Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah,
but not the Conway Twitty version. I guess it's always been like the Bette Midler. So I don't know, there's like a million fucking versions of the Rose out there. But anyway, that was amazing. Fred Ward is really, really good.
I always like to see Fred Ward.
Yeah, I was so excited to see him. And I give a lot of respect to the show for, like, that's when you introduce him. Like, you introduce him in a dream or whatever it was, as opposed to in real life, then you do it. And it just showed an extra bit of, like, courage.
That was a neat trick, because it's Fred Ward in a military outfit.
Cop uniform.
But, so the assumption is, oh, this is like the afterlife or whatever.
Right.
Then, oh, no. We just haven't mentioned him before. He's alive.
Right. And that's the thing is I think it is kind of like Lost. That it might be the afterlife. Or it's just, if you get knocked out and think that you're dead, what is your dream like when you think you're going to wake up and not be alive? Mm-hmm. Which I thought was that sealed it for me of forgiving the Colin Farrell thing. Because he's allowed to be alive if that's the point you're trying to make. And I just loved parts where it was like, you have your dad's hands and he lifts his hands and they're all bloodied and shit. And like, I mean, that was fucking amazing sequence right there.
So he didn't die despite being shot at point blank range.
Yes, that is bullshit.
They use the...
they use rubber bullets riot, which cops use.
Which is sort of a big obvious clue right there. Right now, I'm sort of assuming... Well, I'm assuming that the show is smart enough that they have a reason why somebody would attack a cop and shoot him but not kill him. The only logical conclusion I can reach is whoever it was knows Colin Farrell and didn't want to kill him.
Right.
So, it might be that guy tasked to the detail that just sort of stands around with his beard.
Right, Kenny the cameraman.
Yes. I remember him from Deadwood.
Baseball.
Which he was Al Swearingen, Ian McShane's right-hand man in Deadwood.
Okay.
And he was really good in that. So I know this guy can go as a character actor. Mm-hmm. And right now he's furniture.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe it's him, and he just, Yeah,
it could be.
Because somebody else in the episode got killed. One of Vince Vaughn's boys.
Right.
Got his eyes taken out. And
right.
There are now multiple kills, although not to the police. The police just know of the one body, because it's not like the gangsters are going to take this dead gangster to the cops.
Yeah, and hopefully that kind of keeps going if it's the right thing for it to do, is that, Vince Vaughn has gone scorched the earth.
Right.
On motherfuckers.
Yeah, well, and now it makes sense. Before, because of his money, he was looking into the case, but now one of his guys has been taken out. He's going to want to solve the case worse than the cops do.
Right.
So that's a good drive, and now he's motivated enough to rip out a guy's teeth with pliers. So, that could lead to interesting places. If it's revealed that whoever the killer is shot Colin Farrell, just didn't want to kill him, I'll buy that.
Sure.
He intentionally didn't kill him.
Whatever. We'll see, because you just kind of have to buy it. Because it's like even that close. But whatever. It doesn't matter. The other thing that I really like that I noticed watching it the second time is they don't ever point it out, but when it's going up to Colin Farrell before he sits up, it's like you can see there's piss all over the floor. And then when Rachel McAdams goes to talk to him before she walks away, she's like, "Why does it smell like fucking piss out here?" And walks away, and he's nice. All so it's like that's an added little thing that he's such a vulnerable character. Like, he doesn't get shot and it's all good. Like, the motherfucker pissed himself like a little kid and wants to hide that fact from people. So again, loving it. Thought the beginning was absolutely amazing. If we start getting more like this could be as good as season 1.
The jury's still out for me. Because, I know by this point in season 1, I was fully on the hook. There was no way I was going to miss one.
Yeah.
This one, I'm still like, all right, we'll see where it's going. But they haven't hooked me yet in the first 3 episodes.
Well, I guess the thing is they hooked me for another episode, definitely. But I don't put it past them, because what I'm worried is they're going to start dropping all those threads that they set up in this one.
Right.
And if they do that, I'm going to start getting fucking fed up with the shit. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. Overall, I would give this episode, and a lot of it has to do with the beginning, probably that's a good 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. A little bit of a step down from last week for me, but still a solid effort. Real quick before we sign off, Justin Lin directed the first 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. And I noticed the difference this episode. Right. I noticed that somebody else was directing it. And I'm not sure who it was.
Sure.
It felt a little different. That's all I can say. It didn't, it wasn't bad.
Again,
nobody dropped the ball, but it just felt a little different to me.
I kind of liked it a little bit better in some ways. He made documentaries. He made that documentary Armadillo. I don't know if you...
Nope, don't know it.
You've probably seen at least the poster on Netflix, very striking. It's like a hand grenade heart.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so he's documentary, but you know how TV episodes are shot. Like, if a director's in a set for one thing, so directors can switch off at points. And I don't know who directed the beginning part. Something tells me that the first 2 episodes were a lot in that bar, that maybe Justin Lin did that part. I don't know. But whoever did that,
It popped,
good.
for sure.
Yeah, good to go for me. Yeah, and the first episode, what did I give it? I think I gave it a 5, then a 6. Now I'm up to 8. And you went, what, 5, 7, 6?
I did 4, 7, 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was not enthralled by episode 1.
That's right. I was just basically like, whatever. What are you
Right.
gonna do? I don't care one way or the other. Okay, so that wraps us up. Remember to follow us every week. Every Thursday night, we'll be posting episode reviews of True Detective and also Scream, if you're interested in that kind of thing. Also, check us out on Facebook, Fright Flicks with a CKS, Twitter, Fright Flicks with a CKS, or
Nate Flicks, and that's with an X. And feel free to send us your thoughts. What did you think of the episode? Where do you think it's going? Or more speculative topics. Looking ahead to season 3. Who would you cast as detectives? What sort of crime should they solve? We love the series, even though I'm not super hyped on this season. I'm still a total fan of True Detective, and we can't get enough of talking about it.
Yep.
Until next week, this has been The Horror. I'm Nate.
I'm Mike. See you later, guys.